student and school presentations. Parent groups will have open to the public, 3 minutes per speaker for no longer than 60 minutes. We'll then have our superintendent's report, our correspondence and board comments, our personnel agenda, consent agenda, and then we will have a proposed second executive session, and then we will adjourn the meeting. There are no corrections to this week's agenda. We have a motion for previous minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on Monday, May 12th, 2014.
Second.
Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Second minutes, please.
Motion to approve the minutes of the previous canvass of votes held on Tuesday, May 20th, 2014.
Second.
Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And the final minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes of the previous special meeting held on Tuesday, May 27th, 2014.
Second.
Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Do we have any student or school presentations tonight? Any parent groups?
Kenya Gaston, Parent Communicator Coordinator for the districts. We have put together with, I had put together with Dr. Sieverding a presentation that happened this evening on Novanet, just because I wanted to do one more parent workshop before the end of the school year. We were small in number, but the information was great, and the parents that were there and some of the board members that came in received the information. So it's my hope that this program will continue into September and get off on the right start for the school year.
Thank you. Okay, open to the public. Who would like to speak?
Good evening, everybody. I'll try to maintain my cheery personality tonight. I have a few questions here. I guess I'm going to presume or assume that it's building the grounds. They're responsible for the lawns and fields for the district. I know. I'm hypersensitive to to Lyme disease and ticks. And I know that they tend to grow and live their lives sometimes on animals, but they get them in tall grass and such. And I know that around the district, the lawns and the fields aren't always cut and maintained extremely well. I was just wondering if something that could be done more to that. I know, like, I help coach rec soccer, and those fields are never cut unless they're cut by unless volunteers from the coaches do the cutting for those fields, but they're school district property. I was just wondering if something more could be done about that. I know that we're going to have field days come up at the elementary schools this week and next, perhaps, and it's something we should be concerned with. And one of my reasons for my concern with Lyme disease and ticks is that is the primary cause of my son's death. So it's something that we should all be concerned of, especially in the Hudson Valley and Dutchess County itself. The other three other things is one. Alcohol ball is going to be tomorrow, which I'm sure all of you are aware of. I've had the opportunity to watch the kids over at Sargent Avenue last week practice and put on their dress rehearsal for their classmates in school. And if what they're doing at Sargent Avenue is any indication as for the other three elementary schools, it's going to be quite the spectacle. It's going to be really good because I know those third grades over at Sergeant Abbey did an absolutely fantastic job. Those teachers and the music teachers, have worked really hard with their kids. I noticed on your personnel agenda that there's a recommendation to create a 1.0 FTE special ed / reading position at Rondout, and I was wondering if that's being funded through grant money, or is that coming out of the budget? I know we just had a budget budget vote, and we've reduced the number of positions, positions that aren't going to be filled. One being a guidance counselor, that's, in my opinion, is still very much needed here at the high school, as well as some TA positions. I was just wondering how that was being funded, Dr. Darwood?
That was actually, if you had followed through on the budget process, we had different workshops, and that was part of what Mr. Molnar had presented. So there were some additional portions of positions that were added to the budget. They were part of the budget that the board adopted.
Okay, because I think somewhere along the line that kind of got lost, in the whole budget thing, because it's such an encompassing thing that people believe that positions weren't going to be, that positions were being cut, they weren't being refilled, and that tonight you're creating a new position after the budget has been.
No, this was fully covered within the budget. It didn't show up in the budget presentation as a 1.0, but what had happened is we had, there was a .6, and then there was an additional .4 that was part of the budget process in the same building that becomes a 1.0.
Okay, so I guess what my recommendation would be for next year, so that there's a little better transparency, is that if it's going to be a full position, that it actually be presented that way in the budget, so that when people are being told one thing and then there appears to be something different, that there really isn't that kind of conflict. The final thing I have, and I know I'm running short on time here, the speech improvement plan for fall 2014 teachers, was that something that was also budgeted in the upcoming budget? And and if not, what is that cost going to be?
Zero. No cost there.
Okay. So we have people on hand that are going to be, dealing with kids with speech improvements.
I'm sorry?
We have kids that are going to be, teachers on hand that are going to be dealing with speech improvements. Okay. And I guess my final thing would be with Dr. Walkley. I see that you've hired her as an interim assistant superintendent for instruction. Is there a possibility of getting her to start before July 1st so that she can get a running start?
That was already planned for her, and she's been in. She met with me today.
Okay, because I know on the approval of it said July 1.
We did it that way because I realized it was quite some time ago. Back in the fall, she was approved to come in for a set number of days. We still had days remaining, and in my conversations with her, we felt that probably there would be enough days there to account for transition time.
My understanding with that is that she resigned from that situation. But you're saying that that is incorrect information, then
Right.
fine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who else would like to speak? Sure, Dennis.
Dennis Pavlov, Beacon resident. I was asking, bless you. It's okay. Steve's whatever counts. I gotta say, July 4th, I gave you a time be there if you can make it. Come on down, I'll be in full costume. I'll be Thomas Jefferson or Ben Franklin or somebody from the Revolutionary War. I'll figure it out July 4th when I'm there, so. Hope there's everybody there that invite you, but everybody's invited anyway, whether you got an invite sheet or not, so. We're looking for readers to be a reader next year as well. You can sign up at that day there to be a reader for next year or the year after. Anyway, let me continue my comments tonight here. As Dr. Sieverding said, it doesn't in his talk about regarding Project SAFE, it doesn't take 5 minutes to clear a building out. And when there's something going on in the school district, anywhere in a school district, I want to say elementary school, middle school, or a high school, whether it was built 3 years ago or was built 35 years ago. First thing is going to set in is panic. Everybody's got to know where the locations are, their exits are to get out. I also want to know when the public hearing is to be set for this Project SAFE. And I know in the past we've been doing, according to Project SAFE here, which I have in front of me right here, we've been just doing the easy get out drill in November, which is an early go home drill. We haven't phased in no other drills that are suggested here in Project SAFE, such as multi-hazard safety, school safety drill for staff and students, and will explain the procedures in this section. Once again, early go home drill, we've done that. Tabletop exercise, we haven't done that, or a live drill, we haven't done that either. I was down about, I want to say about maybe 5 or 7 years ago. I was down south of here. I happened to see a drill that some municipalities were putting on. I went down, standing there watching. There was a school bus and a car with a bunch of students on board the school bus. I'll tell you about the drill, what they had done. I was there as a person passing by or there watching the drill, and I had the captain of the ambulance corps come up to 3 people, me, a man and a lady, and said, "I need one of you 3 to go up to run behind that fireman and yell behind that fireman that your son is on that bus." I said, "I'll do it." I ran up behind the fireman and I yelled as loud as I could, "Get my son off that bus." Now they had another process too, where the fireman fell down, had a heart attack. So it was a constant drill that kept things moving. Things can happen. 2/3 of all shooters in our schools, shooters have been bullied. Time and time again, we got turned on our television sets and watched either a workplace shooting or a school shooting across the United States. It's not getting any easier, folks, and I hope, for God forbid, it does not happen in this district, because we haven't been addressing it. We've been looking at it, and everybody shakes their heads. Yes, we know, well, we know, until it happens, and then it's not the same anymore. So, once again, hope to see you July 4th. Thank you for listening, and see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? Change your hat?
Kenya Gadsden. I just wanted to place back on the table the issues facing the dropout rate. There was a letter to the editor in the Beacon Free Press, and it was a little alarming to me to see what the writer had wrote, but I can respect their viewpoints. But I did have a conversation with Dr. Sieverding, and he is working diligently to bring forth the task force that he had promised us related to the dropout rate. Those things are in the works, so I think the community doesn't know that. And in order to get the information, they really need to reach out to the appropriate parties so that they can get their questions answered. There are many things that have gone into protecting the students at the high school to help them excel, and so I'm really happy to see the teaming process that continues here for the students who are falling below grade level and losing sight of what school is all about. I think that is a constant battle to try to understand where we can help the students at, and I think collaboratively, if we work together as parents and teachers and community, we can probably figure out what can best serve the children of the district. So I think, again, I thank Dr. Stevening because no matter when I go into his office, whether it's 5 hours in advance or 5 seconds before he's doing something, he always finds the time to give me the answers to my questions, and they always make me feel at ease. So I just want to know that the community is worried about the dropout rate. They continue to worry about it. People in the community see me now and they ask me about the dropout rate. It's between the dropout rate and school uniforms. So I'm more focused on the dropout rate at this point. And so I just want to bring that to your attention that people are asking and there are things being done. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak? Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I didn't get a date on the time, the date and the time for the...
It'll be scheduled, we have to do the public notice, but it's going to be scheduled for the next board meeting.
Okay, thank you.
So I just mainly wanted to, Mr. Stark had mentioned earlier, but we do have the Calico Ball tomorrow. I'll be there, and I know it's a big event. I'm looking forward to seeing the performances, and I'm hoping to see some of you there as well. And also, it's been an odd, it's been 3 weeks since our last board meeting, right? So it's a little bit longer. There's been, this time of year, an awful lot of celebrations going on relative to student accomplishments. So we've had the sports awards and the senior awards, and congratulations to all of our kids. It's nice to be able to go out and recognize the kids and the families for all of their hard work.
Thank you. Do we have any board comments tonight? What is this?
Yeah, me.
Yes, Larry.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to make my goodbye statement tonight because our next meeting is board teacher recognition for tenure and retirement, and I don't want to take away from that. It's about the teachers and the staff at the next meeting. So, and hopefully there's going to be Kelly cake. So, maybe I can grab a corner with some extra icing. Please excuse me for reading off of a script. I'm not an extemporaneous speaker. It was enough just to practice to say that word off the cuff. Fellow board members, past and present, district administration, teachers, staff members, parents, residents, but most of all students. The end of this month will be the end of my term as a board member in the district. It has not only been my pleasure to serve, but has truly been an honor to be here. This experience has enhanced my life in ways I can't put into words, and for this I thank you. I'd like to share with you one particular personal thing about myself that some of you may know. My experience with the school district, involvement with my children and their education, involvement in the PTAs, and ultimately in the school board has given me a great education, literally. When my children entered school here 16 years ago, I had a high school diploma. I never attended college as a youth, and I spent the last 16 years around this district, and I truly learned the meaning of education and how important it is in life, how important it is to graduate and complete what you've started. One of the reasons for my retirement from the school board is that I'm pursuing my first college degree. I'm in the process of completing my first year. However, it probably would have been a heck of a lot easier if I did it when I was 18. My years on the board have not been without conflict. However, I must say that in all of our efforts to agree to disagree, we always walked away with respect. I believe a variety of opinions help to come to better decisions. For the new board members starting in a few weeks, please keep that in mind. I would personally like to thank 3 people for being mentors to me in my years on the board. First, former board member Michael Reel. He currently serves as a board member on BOCES. Mike always pushed me to speak my mind and always ask questions. He was always a wealth of knowledge on how districts worked. Second, our current Vice President, Bill Zoff. Bill's extensive service on the board gives him a wealth of board knowledge beyond the books. If it's about policy and procedure on the board, Bill knows it. Lastly, our board attorney, Mike Lambert. His expertise in the legal area is without limit. He's also infinitely versed in special education, which has been very personal for me, and he's helped me to find many answers that are typically buried very deep. To the teachers, the administrators, and the staff who have touched the lives of my children, I am forever grateful. I could not have raised my children without your assistance and your partnership. To all of the students I've had the pleasure to have met and worked with, it's been a blast. At times, I almost felt like I was in school again. And to all of our community, I'm truly grateful and humbled by your continued support. I look forward to working together again. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll save our comments for next week.
Not a problem. I'll be here.
May I have a motion for the personnel agenda?
Motion to approve the personnel agenda, items A through M as attached.
Second.
Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda items 12.2 through 12.9.
Second.
Comments or questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion for executive session?
Motion to adjourn to executive session to review the employment history of a particular individual, and the board is not expected to take action after executive session.